Come on.
Hey guys, and welcome back to a live stream. And tonight I have a very special guest in the studio. This is my good friend Jason. Welcome
Thank you.
to the studio.
Thank you. Do you know what? This studio is actually phenomenal. it literally is like a dream come true for most nerd adults. The amount of Funko Pops in this place is crazy. I spent a good 10 minutes just looking around and I haven't spotted it. I find something new every time I look around.
To be fair, I pretty much find something new every time I look around as well. There's things I've forgotten that I even had.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got boxes down here, you've got ET. I mean, who collects ET? But
What do you mean, who collects ET?
Everyone loves ET, but I mean, no one ever thinks. But I didn't realize there's so many different variations of it. So I'm not a big pop collector. My son and daughter are, and their friends are. So I'm having to go for the ride, you know.
Oh, they're loving their Funko Pops, man.
Oh, geez,
I love chatting to them whenever I see them, man.
They're constantly harassing.
No, it's not harassment at all, man. I love chatting to them. They tell me all the different things they've picked up.
Yeah.
Oh, I got this one, I got that one.
Yeah, they get excited.
It's cool, man.
They get excited. So listen, guys, I'm really sorry. I'm actually quite nervous here, and so Kieran's kind of making me a little bit nervous as well.
Yeah, don't reveal.
Being here such a celebrity.
Don't
like,
reveal my real name, man. My name's UK Random.
UK Random.
Yeah, man. I don't know what this.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
Who is this guy?
You know what? I've been really looking forward to this live stream. A couple of months ago, now we've been talking about this for a few months.
Yeah,
now,
it started off a conversation outside, wasn't it? And
yeah, we were just chatting, talking about movies because Jason, as am I, is a huge movies fan, and I don't know, we were chatting about Back to the Future, and you started telling me these theories and conspiracies and ideas that you had, and I was like, you know what? Hold that thought. We saved that discussion for the studio.
Yeah. He did cut me short. You wanted it to be a surprise.
Yeah, I didn't want to do this video and already know all the things you're going to say, because I'm really curious to hear your crazy theories.
Well, these are just theories. It's just things I've heard, things I've looked up, and just kind of, and as I was like doing a little bit of reading here and there and putting my own thoughts together, more things started cropping up for me and questioning. So they are just theories. It's got nothing to do with the films. So I don't want Zemeckis to like contact me and come up with some sort of I'm gonna get sued or something, like ripping his.
That shouldn't happen. But I'm gonna do a quick disclaimer. I absolutely love the movies.
Yeah, I love the movies as well. One of my favorite, which is why I know so much about it.
Yeah, you know what? People do that with a lot of different films, though. They're like, "Oh, do you know why this happened and that happened?" And I'm like, "No, I just watched the film and enjoyed it."
It's once you go down that rabbit hole, it's hard to come out of.
I remember Back to the Future from when I was a kid. Obviously, I'm old enough to remember when it came out. Now, I didn't watch the first one in the cinema, but I do remember queuing all the way around the side of the ABC cinema in Turnpike Lane to watch number 2.
Wow.
We queued up. I've never. Was it 86 or 87 they came out? It was a couple of years after the first one. I can't remember.
That's right.
I had never seen anything like it. Now, prior to that, back in 84, 85, I had been to the same cinema to watch Ghostbusters and Gremlins when they came out.
Wow.
But Back to the Future, mate, awesome memories. But Back to the Future, like the first movie was amazing. The second movie was probably even better. I don't know. Where are you with the order of 1, 2, and 3? What is your favorite? Before we get into all the conspiracies and the theories, let's.
Oh, that's a tough question. You know what? I actually saw Back to the Future 2 first. That was the one I saw first.
Back to the Future 2.
Back to the Future 2. I was about 10 years old, I think it was. 10 years old. I saw Back to the Future 2, and that was it. I was like, wow, what on earth is this, right? And I had to go and watch the first one. So I went down to my local Blockbusters, found the video.
Blockbuster video.
Yeah. Had to make sure it was rewound when I returned it. Otherwise, you get that fine. Yeah. Some things you guys wouldn't know out there? I
Yeah,
know
video cassettes.
You got a lot of young viewers out there, so they wouldn't even know what Blockbusters was. A place where people would go to get movies out, rent them out, take them home. None of this Netflix stuff.
Yeah, man.
So I went and got that Back to the Future 1 and watched it from there, and I thought this is like one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. I absolutely loved it. Now, in the order,
tricky one.
Yeah, I don't know, 2, 1, 3 maybe. But 3, you know what? 3 is so underrated. Not many people like 3, but number 3 is so key and underrated that if you actually look into it.
Well, for me, number 3, as much as I love it, is the last one of the 3. If you put them in order of what I like. But that shouldn't take away anything from the movie, because the movie was flipping brilliant. Man. The story I thought was really good. The way it ended as well was amazing.
I know. It got me right here. It got me right here. Seeing, I would like to give spoilers alert for those who may have never seen it before.
If you've never seen it before, that's your problem now.
You know what I mean?
Spoiler everywhere tonight.
It's what, 40 years now, sort of, near enough. 39 years, pretty much.
It's almost 40 years.
So if you haven't seen it, then
next year will be.
Next year will be.
1985.
So if you haven't seen it, then tough. It's going to be ruined. Doc comes back. he comes back from the past. He survives the train wreck.
You weren't meant to tell him that bit.
Well, we did say spoilers for that.
Yeah, but that's the biggest. I'm not kidding. Anyway, yeah, I actually watched a clip of that scene where Marty comes back at the end of the last one, and Doc's told him you've got to destroy the time machine.
Yeah.
Pretty much did. He wasn't surviving that train.
But did he know that it was going to get destroyed? That's why he said it.
I think Doc sent him on that train track knowing that the train was due to come.
Theories. That ties in. Oh. That actually I never thought of that. Now that we're talking about it, it could be another theory connected to my theories about Doc knowing the future and the past before it actually happened, because he's been there quite a few times.
Oh, he didn't sit still, did he?
No, he was jumping back and forth. He was a time traveler. That curiosity, you know, Doc, he was very curious. Very, very curious.
So, Mr. Wayne Deacon, what's going on, mate?
Hey, Wayne.
And I'm not DJ Khaled. Please stop saying that. So, who's got the sexiest beard?
Oh, what? No, you have.
No, man. I think you have. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Guys, let's put it to the vote. Who's got the sexiest beard?
I've got to look this way. Looking at
There's too much white hair in both of them, to be fair.
Yeah, but yours is darker.
Sorry, we keep looking that way. The screen's there. We're just making sure we check
that
ourselves
we're in
out.
the screens. I mean, this is the first time I'm actually doing this. So I don't know which one I'm looking.
It's all good. Well, the camera's there. I don't know if you missed it.
Jeez, is that what that was?
Yeah, well, you know, does the job.
It's a good camera. I can see it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've had it a while now.
Wow.
So two's your favourite.
Yeah, I like the interconnection between the characters. I like the interconnection, how Marty tries to avoid his former self, how it ties in with what happened in the first one due to situations that happened in the second. And the intertwining was really, really good, and I do love that because it bridges the gap between the first and the second one, which is quite nice. I do like that.
Yeah, good.
And yours is number 2. You said no. Number 3 is number 3. You said
number 3, yeah, because number 2 is out of this world.
Especially the doors coming out, like
the 3D cinema. Well, 4D, weren't it?
4D cinema.
But even with number 2, there's so many things that they thought of for that movie.
Yeah.
All right, the hover cars, it hasn't happened yet.
They had so much hope for us.
So many other things like the iPads and
and what else?
I think it was that, really.
I haven't seen the self-drying clothes yet, and I've seen them
maybe in Japan.
Actually, maybe, yeah. I've seen Nike bring out the
mags.
The Max, the Nike Airs.
Yeah. Do you know how much they're worth?
No, I have no idea.
You're talking thousands of pounds, because there wasn't that many of them made.
Wow.
Yeah. I swear, I'm pretty sure we're talking something like ridiculous, like 15,000 plus. Yeah. Air Mags.
That's mental.
You can get them on Temu and AliExpress, but they're not the same. You know what? I was tempted. I was this close to
Really?
getting. Well, you know what? I want to get the jacket from Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
With the hat and the
hoverboard.
The hoverboard, you cannot get them anymore.
I've seen so many people with them, but I can never find them
because they sort of came out years ago. Obviously, they don't hover; they're just board, but you can't find them, man. Believe me, if you could find them, it'd be in the back of their display.
I can imagine that'd be like your pride and joy.
Oh yeah.
See, all of this here would have been taken down and just made room for that hoverboard.
No. Everything will still stay, but the hoverboard will be the back.
Where would you put it? I mean, you've got so much there. Because you can't take away the beauty of your pops.
Yeah, but the thing is, it'll go behind them. So it'll be up against the wall.
Okay, got you.
And then you have the pops in front. The DeLorean.
The DeLorean, that is so funny.
Let's try and do this without dropping everything. So I've already had one Back to the Future casualty.
Oh, I just noticed. You got the license plate at a time.
Yep.
That's so sweet. Yeah, see, every time I look around, I find something new.
There you go. There's my DeLorean with Marty McFly. One of my favourite pop rides. It's hard to pick between this one, the Ecto one, and the Batmobile from '66.
Yeah, the 1966.
They're my favourites of my pop rides. I know I've got Star Wars ones that are really awesome as well, but I don't class them in the same thing as these. They're awesome because they're Star Wars. This is
pop culture, isn't it?
Take a look, man.
I'm too scared I'm going to drop it.
No, you ain't going to drop it. And if you do, you can just buy me another one.
Can you even get these? Do you know what? It's actually quite solid. I honestly thought it would be like the squishy foam.
No, man.
I don't know what. When I was looking at it, you know those foamy things.
Foamy, like stress ball.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Was when I'm looking at it and looking at the wheels and how it's actually quite a solid thing.
And if I'm not mistaken, it is the DeLorean from #1.
Yeah, it is.
Because obviously the wheels ain't the other way. You haven't got the Mr. Fusion.
Actually, no, you're wrong. What? There it is. There's a fusion thing.
What?
There's a fusion tank where he twists it and lifts it up.
Oh shit!
Because the first one had the
antenna.
The antenna. Yeah, but look, if you look at the back there, you can see
the antenna only went on it because when he went back to 85 for the lightning strike.
But I'm sure that must be the fusion. Look, he's bringing out the glasses now. Look, that looks like the thing he twists.
Oh, it doesn't actually say. Yeah, you know what that probably is. For some reason, I've pictured it as sitting above.
No, because he twists it and lifts it up.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? I hope I didn't ruin your.
You know what? Just go on.
But it's not just as good. Second one, and it is from your favorite one. You said the second one's your favorite one, so it's a bonus, right?
Definitely. But
and the clock.
There's so many figures. There's a couple of the Back to the Future ones I haven't got yet, but they're so expensive. Like the one in the hazmat suit. You've got the one where he's playing the guitar in #1 where he goes back
with the suit.
Yep. You've got the one where he's a cowboy from #3.
Does he have one with the metal plate on his chest as well?
Oh no.
So it's just a cowboy, Clint Eastwood outfit.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's about 4 of them that I don't have yet, which I don't think I'm ever gonna have, unless I get lucky enough to win one of them in a mystery box. But hey, who knows? We will see.
I want to get one of those mystery boxes. Actually, you know what? I'm feeling lucky, so I might actually order one. Where do I go to get them again?
Get one more.
Those mystery boxes.
Yeah. You can get them anywhere. There's lots of different companies. PopFigures.com.
Okay,
they do mystery boxes every now and then, and they'll have like a top hit, but you'll know what the top hit is because they show you. They have some slightly smaller hits as well, and then loads of random little ones. So you got to wait for when it's going to be one of those specific figures. Who else? A company in America called Mystery Grail. Wayne Deacon pulled a metallic blueberry Funko Pop, which was worth over $1,000. And that was something else.
A mystery box.
Yep.
That's mental.
The thing is, I've pulled a £400 Funko Pop before. I've got this one here, which is a couple of hundred.
But is it like a comic thing? You know, when you buy batches, and the more you buy, there's a high chance of you getting that that chase or that special one. Is that how it works with Funkos?
With Funkos, if there's a chase figure, every 6 they make of the figure, 1 in 6 will be a chase. Like you can see, I've got the Riddler there.
Yeah.
Every 1 in 6 was a chase.
Okay.
Same with Peggy Bundy up there, Princess Diana.
So would you have to buy 6 of the same?
That's assuming you're getting that box, that specific box of 6. If it's just 6 off a
random
shelf, it doesn't always work that way. But when it comes to mystery boxes, someone like PopFigures will do a run. They'll say the top prize is, I don't know, this Back to the Future Marty McFly in the hazmat suit. That's the top hit. Then you've got a couple of other ones, and then there'll be the rest will be up to the value of £10 each, for example. There'll be 150 mystery boxes. That's what the run is. Technically, you could buy 150 and you're going to win it.
So there's a high chance.
But sometimes they'll say maximum of 3, maximum of 4 boxes per person. But there is also that chance that you'll get duplicates if you get multiple boxes, which has happened to us before.
Okay.
But you know, you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to be in it to win it. I've picked top hits quite a few times. Wayne picked one up recently as well. I'm trying to remember what it was. See, he was well excited. This was last week. I can't remember. But anyway, right. Let's start making our way towards these conspiracies.
Wayne says he wants to, what was it? Used to be 1 in 32.
So yeah, apparently so. It used to be 1 in 32 to get a chase with a Funko Pops. Electro.
Funko Pops,
that's the one signed by Jamie Foxx.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't actually in the mystery box. He got another pop, but he got the sheet from them. It was from Danny and Jazz, DJ Collectibles. So you contact them and say, I've got the thing. Send it to me. And that's happened to me before when I won. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Funko Freddy as Vault Boy. I actually got Batmite. Yeah.
The one that used to stalk Batman.
That's the one. But there was a letter in there saying you've won the thing, because you would have known it was that, because that one would have been a lot heavier because it was in a hard stack and everything. So they do that, and then you contact them and say, I won this. And you tell them if there's a code, or you send them a picture of thing that they've sent you. And they send it to you. It's so that they, and the thing is, because they want to do it at random as well, they'll know that this specific box has got that figure. And they don't want to. Do you get what I mean?
Kind of, I do.
Because you can kind of fix it if one box is heavier than the others, or if it's an oversized pop is the main prize. You're going to know when you're sending it. So at least this way, it cuts out all,
eliminates all the chances of it being rigged or fixed or anything like that. I get it. So the theories.
You're going to start with a nice and easy one,
Nice and easy one.
There ain't no nice and easy ones. I know you've made a nice little list there.
I made the list. My list went from bullet points to to dissertations. Look.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad that laptop's quite fine. I can't, even with the glasses, man. Flipping Nora.
I know. It's
guys.
Bullet points.
We're going to be here till 3. We're going to be here till 3 a.m. And Mr. Wayne Deacon, I would like to say, let's keep the chat nice and clean tonight. I think there's young children watching. Behave. Or at least try to behave.
Well, I'm hoping my two, they're in bed by now, but
they're not in bed. Shout them out. Say hello.
Theo, Christiana, get to bed if you're still awake.
Don't go to bed. Stay for the ride. Have they seen Back to the Future?
Oh yeah, they love it.
Good.
They love it. So there's no spoilers.
They're good kids. They're good
kids.
Yeah, okay.
They're good kids. They love Back to the Future. So all right. So my theories. Okay. The first one is, I feel that Doc Brown is a bit of a hypocrite. Yes. But also on the same hand, I think that it proves that people can change no matter how rigid and how stern they are and how strong their moral compass is. They still have the ability to change. And the reason why I say that is because he's always mentioned about never messing with the timeline.
Yeah.
Right? Don't go back, don't change anything. Who knows what the repercussions could be for the future if that was to happen. We all know that when Marty goes back, he changes a little bit and then he comes back.
He tries to fix it. And
he tries to fix it because he messed it up a bit. And it comes back. However, he says that Marty or him shouldn't be changing anything in the past. But he used the DeLorean to change the past probably quite a few times without anyone noticing.
Elaborate.
Elaborate.
This is where it gets interesting, people.
So, first of all, he reads the letter. Even though he says he doesn't want to read the letter, he reads the letter.
Can I just stop you one sec?
Go on.
They're not in bed and they're not going to be.
And that is from him. That's my son. So I'm guessing. Yeah. Okay. I had a feeling you weren't going to be in bed by now. Okay.
So
right.
Doc
is
a hypocrite because he read the letter that Marty gave him.
Not just that. Because that's the obvious answer. Because he went back on it, and I mean, what did he say? Well, I figured, what the hell? That's what he turned around and said. I figured, what the hell, and read it.
Because he got angry when Marty tried to tell him,
but he ended up reading it. Now,
he tore it up though, didn't he?
He tore it up and sellotaped it. But him reading it has changed his views on things. Right? He thought, well, you know what? That's the first sign to say, you know what? I'm going to change my theory behind not knowing. I'm changing as a person. I'm developing as a character. I need to be, I don't know, maybe he's thinking I need to be more morally open to such things. Who knows? But how many times has Doc Brown saved Marty McFly? If you remember.
Loads of times,
right? 3 of the main ones. He saved him when Biff, in the alternate timeline, was about to shoot him. He was right there, just in time to save him for Marty to jump off the DeLorean. He was there when Biff was chasing down the tunnel.
In the car.
And then he drops the bunting down, picks up Marty McFly and flies off. And then the third time was back in 1885 in the Wild West. He takes a shot at the right when he was being hung. Hell of a coincidence, he was there just in the nick of time to save him.
It's obvious that he had been there before, though.
Right.
I'm going to have to assume that Marty dies a few times.
Yes, exactly. And Doc can't live with that. Because he was the reason why probably Marty went back in time. Maybe he had an emotional connection to Marty because it was his best friend. Because Doc was a very isolated man. He didn't have any friends. People thought he was crazy. And he didn't want his best friend to die. And he's probably saw that Marty got shot up on that bell tower by Biff. Couldn't handle it. So he decided to go back in time again with the DeLorean and try to save him. Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 5 times.
Maybe multiple times.
Maybe multiple times. Who knows? Until he got it right to the point where Marty looks down, sees the DeLorean and jumps off just in the nick of time. Or down the tunnel. He probably, Biff Buchanan probably run him over, killed him quite a few times. And Marty had to go back each and every time to get it spot on for that bunting to drop. to catch him just again in the nick of time. It seems too easy. It doesn't. Do you know what I mean? What are the odds of that happening just the once, especially when you have a time machine?
The thing is, I've seen another movie which is very similar. I can't even think off the top of my head what film this is, but I remember this happening. Someone keeps trying to save someone. It doesn't. Was it The Flash?
The Flash did it. There was films
where he keeps going back until he's running back in the past to. What am I thinking of a different film altogether?
No. You're thinking of The Flash. He goes back in time to try and save his parents, but they're destined. His mum was destined to die regardless, right? So no matter how many times he went to change the past, she would always end up dying. You're thinking of that one with Tom Cruise where he live, die, repeat, or something like that, where every time he dies, it resets the day, and he's fighting aliens. And whenever he gets killed, because he killed the alien, got some sort of blood or whatever into him, and he managed to absorb their ability to reset. That's why the humans couldn't kill or win against the aliens. So every time he died, he would reset the day and start all over again. That was the fundamentals of live, die, repeat. I think that's what it was. Right.
What's happening, Kenneth? Welcome to the live stream.
Hi, Kenneth. You're right. So Doc went back. So even though he kept saying you can't mess with the timelines, he just kept going back until he got it right in saving Marty McFly. Because Marty McFly more than likely died multiple times, and Doc's tried to save him multiple times until he got it right.
So he just kept going back a few seconds earlier so there could be multiple Docs at that exact same time all over the place.
Potentially.
Because technically that would be the case.
Yeah.
But saying with it, you said Doc couldn't handle his best friend dying.
Yeah.
So you referred to him as his best friend, which I never really thought of it like that, because Doc was a crazy old man.
Yeah.
And even though it's Michael J. Fox, and we know Michael J. Fox, the man, he was a boy. He was a schoolboy.
Yeah, he was a schoolboy.
How the hell does a grown-ass man
in his 50s or whatever it is,
with his 16? No, he's got to be at least 16, 17. He drives.
Yeah, it's 17, possibly 18, but around about that teenage. I think it was 17, 18, something like that.
So it was the last year of high school.
Yeah, he was still in high school, so it's probably, we're looking at 17, right? Now, there's no actual evidence to this, but I have looked it up and I have done a bit of research because I found it a bit weird. Now, what it was, there's multiple theories behind that. One being because of Marty's poor family, he had to find extra work. So he ended up working for the Doc to help him fix things, get things for him.
As his little apprentice.
As a little apprentice. And they built up a bit of a relationship that way. Okay. Just to earn a bit of extra cash for the family. Or for himself at least. Right?
George was a bit of a loser, his dad.
Yeah.
He was.
He was, right?
Till they messed with the timeline.
See? Messing with the timeline. But yeah, he was a bit of a loser. They didn't have money, no self-confidence in the family. And so Marty went out and tried to get work, get paid work, and end up working for the Doc to turn, help him buy things, fix things, just to earn a bit of extra cash. And in the end, they probably grew to somewhat mutual respect between each other. That is something. There's no evidence to that, but that's a theory going out in the world about that relationship.
Okay.
So it's sort of like employee,
that makes sense.
Yeah, employee kind of thing, and then they just kind of became friends. He finds his stuff quirky because in the first one he goes into his house, so there's a relationship there, and he knows how all of his stuff work because there was no what do I do here? What do I do? He just went straight in, plugged in a massive speaker.
Flip it, that was brilliant.
And maybe Doc built that for him as a present.
More than likely.
Yeah, because why would the Doc need such a huge speaker? So maybe he built that for Marty McFly.
Because Doc invented a hell of a lot of things. And there's something he said in that first movie.
Go on.
Where the future has already been changed, because as soon as Marty's found Doc and Marty takes Doc to the DeLorean,
yeah,
Doc's telling him about when he fell off the toilet and banged his head, and he drew the flux capacitor. He goes, I drew this.
yeah,
And Marty's like, the flux capacitor, and he shows it to him.
yeah, yeah.
And he says, the first thing I invented that actually works. And he gets excited.
Yeah, yeah.
Or something along those lines.
He got excited because he said that
the first thing I invented that actually works.
Yeah. Because everyone in the whole neighborhood thought he was crazy. Thought he was just this mad person. And so Doc was quite a lonely.
Grab some water.
A lot of talking in it.
I spoil my guests.
Yeah, see, look at that.
Don't show the label because they're not paying for advertising.
Oh, I cover it up like that, yeah. So, yeah, that's good. Actually, you know what? I need that.
Oh no, you're showing the label, yeah, man.
Don't do that.
I'm only kidding. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter as long as it's not a bright red one, right? Yeah. So, going back in the past to save Marty, who died multiple times. Now, there is that theory: is okay. What about the third one? How did he go back in time to save Marty multiple times if the DeLorean wasn't working? Right? There is that, because it got me thinking. All right, so think about all the times Doc saved Marty, right? And the obvious ones was the belt the hanging. Then not the hanging, the shooting on the bell tower. The other one was the bunting where he saves him from the thing, and then the other one was when he shot the rope, right? Now, is it a coincidence that he had a sniper? He built this sniper rifle just for that one occasion. Well, no, just for the sake of building or something. Because why would anyone like the Doc require a sniper rifle when everyone goes around Smith and Westons and all those handguns? The little flingy ones. But he happened to have a sniper weapon. So it's a bit, again, another coincidence that he would have that. So did Marty actually die? Doc found out that somebody had a hanging, looked at the body, recognized Marty, somehow got back in time. Because the original time machine wasn't a DeLorean.
Whoa. I've seen number 1, number 2, and number 3. It was a DeLorean.
No. In the original scripts, the original storyline, it was actually a refrigerator. A fridge. The time machine was meant to be a fridge. Yep.
So like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Mm-hmm. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The original storyline was actually meant to be, the time machine was meant to be a fridge.
I'm glad they bloody changed it.
I know. So am I. Believe me, so am I.
He would have frozen to death.
Well, yeah. At least you had a nice cold beer or something, just on your trips.
Wow. I did not know that.
Right. So, Doc was very resourceful, right? And when he was in 1885, he somehow managed to build another time machine, didn't he? The train.
Yes.
So, therefore, he must have had parts that could be used regardless. Would you say so?
Technically, yeah.
Right.
But with his knowledge of the future
as well,
and living in 85, he was able to use raw materials in ways that people back then wouldn't have known how to use them.
Right. So he already had the DeLorean, remember, in 1885. It just wasn't working at that moment. So he probably figured out with current times.
Oh, yeah, because they used the train to push it.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So the DeLorean was already back there, because don't forget, Marty was in the DeLorean. Not Marty. The Doc was in the DeLorean when he was struck by lightning, sent back to 1885. Right? If you remember, he was in the DeLorean and he was struck by lightning, and he went back into 1885 with the DeLorean. And then he told, as soon as he got struck, the postman came, gave him a letter, and then it showed him where the other DeLorean was hidden, where he hid it back in 1885. Yeah. So he already had the DeLorean back in 1885. So with the limited resources, he probably used that can only get him back a few moments, maybe a day, maybe half a day back in time to be able to build the sniper, know what he needed to do, be at the exact moment when Marty's about to get hung, and made that perfect shot. Because to hit a string from that distance, it's a hard shot to make. Wind factors, all of that. If you take all the elements into consideration, it's a hard shot to make. So he probably had a few attempts as well. Right. So he's saved Marty McFly plenty of times in the past. So does that make him a hypocrite or someone who's able to adapt and realize that change is inevitable? What do you think?
Technically a bit of both, because he's preaching that you shouldn't mess with it, but he does for, is it personal gain? Not personal gain as in making money, but maybe he did use it for that as well.
Potentially, you never know, but he used it for
to save
Marty for selfish needs, because it ultimately he couldn't live with the thought of Marty dying, so he had to save his own conscience. So did he save Marty or did he save himself from having to live the rest of his life with guilt?
Yeah.
So is he a hypocrite? Did he do it for selfish reasons?
Guys, was Doc a hypocrite? That's the question. Let me know your thoughts.
I think it's someone I think it's somebody who.
Pete, oi, welcome to the live stream.
Hey, Pete.
Pete, Jason, Pete. Yeah.
Nice to meet you online.
Swipe.
Yeah, swipe. You know, Pete, I must swipe left or right.
I don't even know, man. These dating apps weren't invented when I was single.
No, we don't know which way to go. So, yeah, was he a hypocrite, or did he use it for self-gain, personal gain, or was it just someone who realized change is inevitable?
Pete's saying he wasn't the full ticket.
No, he wasn't, but that's what made him a great man, though, isn't it?
It's true. You can't be an inventor to that extreme, being a full ticket.
No, there's got to be something loose.
It's not even something loose. I think once you get, like, I could say, right, I want to become an inventor, and I start trying to invent things, and as things are just constantly not working, and you're trying to figure it out, you're doing all these equations and problem solving, you start going mad, especially when you're doing the same thing over and over.
Is that where the mad scientist thing comes from?
Oh, possibly.
He might have struck something.
I think that's what it is. Like, technically, you're constantly overthinking these things. Why is that not working?
Yeah.
And eventually you go flipping mad.
Mad scientist.
Yeah.
I think you hit something there. Hey,
you heard it here first, people.
Yeah. Crack the mad scientist theory.
Random geezer.
random facts, right? Random facts. But you know what? You may have actually solved the theory, the mystery behind the mad scientist.
I think I just did.
Well done.
No conspiracy about it. Pete's saying you swipe right.
You swipe right.
Is it swipe right for likey? Yeah.
Yeah. Righty for likey.
Yeah. Well, I know on the TV it's no likey, no lighty.
Yeah.
Or is it the other way around?
No likey.
Yeah, no likey, no lighty.
No lighty.
Anyway.
So yeah, that's one theory right there. What's your thoughts on it?
You've thrown me because
it's about to take Doc, right?
Because Doc technically is a hypocrite, because he did say it specifically, do not change anything. But at the same time, Marty did change things and he had to fix them. So it's impossible, I believe, to go back in time without screwing things up. Just your presence there has
an impact,
changed things.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because look, his dad was a loser. George McFly was a loser.
Yeah.
But then he ain't after.
Which will come to my next theory. Yeah,
it's as if I read his notes. I haven't read his notes. Go
I
on,
know.
go on, let's go. No, I'm telling you, I can't see it from here. Oh God, what's Pete
Jesus.
saying? Yes, swipe right if you like.
No, the next one's
I'm gonna invent kill dating, dude. Oh, Pete, keep it clean. We've got youngsters watching.
Okay, he's in the first one. He read the letter.
That's right.
He
That's
said
the
it.
point you made before.
Yeah.
Pete must have come in after that.
Yeah, we made a point about that. Pete.
Yep.
He said that.
He said he wasn't going to read the letter. He went
did.
mad at Marty when he tried to give him the letter.
But he said, "What the hell?" Right? And I think it's because he knew what was happening.
But I think even the fact that he knew that his flux capacitor, his idea of time travel has worked, it's already changed the future because Doc now isn't gonna
accidentally create.
Is it gonna happen? Isn't it gonna happen? It's happened.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get there.
And now he realized that just by knowing that the flux capacitor works and he's built the time machine, there isn't that sense of wonder that the original Doc had, whether it is going to work or not, because now he knows for a fact that it does. So
I think that's what I just said, but he said it in English.
Yeah, you're right.
Pretty much,
It's got me thinking that now because, he's going to sit there and think, do you know what? I've noticed something about my future that I didn't know. So what the hell? I might as well read one more thing. What difference will that make if I read one more thing? So that's why he probably read the letter. Now there you go. See. Now, this one hurt my brain when I was thinking about it.
Oh, don't, man.
This one actually hurt my brain because the more I was thinking about it, the more in depth I was getting, and I was literally going down this rabbit hole.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Hit me with this theory.
It's the whole new timeline situation. And I believe that, and again, guys, this is just my theories. I believe
this channel does not support or endorse any views by the guests.
Yeah.
Thank you. Carry on.
Just put it out there just in case.
I don't want to get sued, man.
We're gonna end up going underground, isn't it? Do you remember, what was it, Spectrum FM, the Greek clip that we had to tune in?
Spectrum, man, that was from the 80s.
Yeah, you had to literally tune into the mid-wave MW frequency on the radio just to hear a bit of Greek music.
But yeah, let's get back to the change of the timeline.
So,
because that was one of the drastic changes.
He's not getting married. I know my future. I'm not getting married again.
I want his autograph. Whose autograph? His or mine?
Or Doc's?
Pete actually bought me. It's actually over there by the computer. I'll show it to you later. Doc, a picture of Doc, signed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd.
Do you know what? I went to
my birthday a few years back.
I went to a Comic-Con and it had Marty McFly, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson. They had a panel. I was sitting on that panel just listening to it, and it was just an incredible experience. I absolutely loved it. I loved sitting on that panel. It was just amazing. So yeah, Marty McFly in Back to the Future 2, right? I'm saying he sacrificed himself so that old Marty can replace him in the new timeline.
Marty McFly sacrificed himself in number 2 so that Marty could have a better life.
Could replace him. Not to have a better life, to replace him.
To replace him?
Now, I think there's either Doc has probably convinced him to either sacrifice and die, which I doubt very much, or he promised him that he could get him something and then sent him into space with the time machine and completely eliminated him out of existence. Because, you know, if you look at time, right, the Earth is spinning it's also rotating around the sun.
Depends.
Depends if you're a flat earther. Yes, we're putting it out there for those who are flat Earth believers. This is for those who are round Earth believers. Okay.
So, and another disclaimer: this channel doesn't endorse flat or round earthers.
Yes, we're just going by the round Earth theory.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the round Earth theory,
yeah,
the planet rotates, but also rotates around the sun.
Yes.
Right. So the Earth's position in 1985 would be different back in 1955. Right?
Okay.
Follow me so far?
Kind of, yeah.
Right. So say the Earth is here, sun's here in 1985, but in 1985 it could have been round here somewhere, but rotated in a different position.
Okay.
Yeah? Because obviously it spins.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so by going back in time, you would have to not only get the timing correct, but the position of the Earth at that moment in time. Surely, right? That's common knowledge, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because
okay, yeah, no, that does make sense.
Right.
But that's another.
Well, that's just science, I suppose.
Okay.
But Doc kind of explains that through the space and time continuum. He puts in the space and time continuum, right? So you're calculating the Earth's rotational position around space at that time back in 1955. So potentially Doc could actually put the position of somewhere else X amount of years. So when there's Marty McFly in Back to the Future 2, we go through the DeLorean, we think he's going back in time to 1955, but as a matter of fact, is going into space and perishing and wiped out of existence. Goodbye, Marty McFly. Do I leave it there?
Why does he need to kill him? Or eliminate him?
Why does he need to eliminate him? I'm glad you asked that. That's the reason why we're here, right? So, don't forget under as well.
That's family friendly. Wow. Okay.
Right.
Go on.
Old Marty McFly. Let's call him Marty A. The original one from Back to the Future 1. Marty A. Right? He was placed in 1985 now in a new timeline. Yes?
Yes.
He goes home. He sees his parents. He finds a different set of parents.
When he goes back.
When he goes back. Back to the future. Back to 1985. The past has changed. Right? And his new parents are more confident. They've got social influence. They're more wealthier. Right. So, because of that, Marty McFly created a new timeline. Or anti-clockwise. Pete feels that the Earth goes anti-clockwise, which could be, I don't know. You came random, it must be so confused right now.
No.
I hope I'm not confusing anyone out there, because I was confusing myself at some point. The more I was writing, the more I was confusing. Right? So, right. I had to rewrite so I can actually understand what I'm saying here, right? So, by Marty McFly ultimately changing 1955's timeline, he's created a new timeline, like when he goes back in time and changed the Biff Tannen timeline with the almanac.
Okay, yes.
Right?
Yes.
They didn't like this new future, so they went back in time again and took the almanac off Biff and set everything back in order. But what they did was, back in the first one, they went back in time and then reset this new timeline. And if you remember, Doc drew the outline. This is our current timeline across here. And then he drew this is a new 1985. And at some point, it broke off and created a new timeline. Well, that original timeline that Doc drew, was not the original timeline that Marty McFly was in. because the original timeline, his parents were losers. Not that anything's bad about being losers, just saying.
Yeah, no.
But we're just using that as an example.
We just don't want to be.
Right.
Okay.
So going back in time, he created a brand new timeline, like the Biff one, but on the same sort of drawing as Doc Brown drew to explain what happened.
So you're saying he's going into a new timeline where he already exists.
Right.
But there can't be two of him.
There can't be two of him. And the new Marty McFly, Marty B, let's call him, has now grown up in this environment, who has this self-entitlement, this probably obnoxious and a different outlook on life. There's a new Marty McFly.
Okay.
Right? So, because of that, Marty would have been influenced by a more confident father and mother, right? His mum, dad, they're more confident. And this Marty hasn't actually experienced the same struggles as Martin A had experienced. So it's a completely new, different outlook. Thus, potentially not meeting up with Doc ever, because there was no need for him to go and work for Doc.
Right.
Yeah? So it's completely changed.
Yeah, but you're saying one Marty has to be eliminated.
Right.
Which Marty gets eliminated? Because it's the same Marty the whole way through, because he knows exactly what's happened.
Yes.
From
so
the beginning
Marty
to the end.
B.
So the one that exists in the new timeline has to go.
Right. So when Marty goes back, because the timeline has been altered, because if you look, when Marty runs back to the parking lot, it went from Twin Pines
to Lone
Pines. Right?
Lone
Pine. So therefore, a new timeline has been created. Regardless, it's not the same timeline as the one that Marty originally was on. Yeah?
Okay.
Do you get me now?
Okay. I get you.
You get me? You understand where I'm coming from? You with me so far? I'm just about
for
with
now.
Me. I'm just about with me as well. Right. So, because of this altered environment that this Marty B grew up in, that would impact his personality as well. Surely.
Yeah, because he'd be a different character.
He'd be completely different character.
With a different upbringing would probably be different.
Right.
Or more than likely be different.
Right. So therefore, we're looking at that argument of nurture versus nature. Right? So you've got the old Martin A, who was brought up with the struggles, creating this Marty McFly that we all love, and the character that's got a bit more guts, doesn't like being called chicken, doesn't take any crap from anybody. And then you would have this new Marty McFly that's none of those characteristics.
But then his family would notice one day it's this Marty and the next day it's a totally new person.
And didn't they? When he goes back and he goes back home, there's something weird about you. Or something strange, or are you okay? You're different. Didn't George and...
Yeah, when he's come back after...
Are you sure you're okay? They were like... They realized straight away it wasn't their Marty. Yeah?
Yeah. But the timeline doesn't change. Because the same things happen after.
What? Same thing happens.
Example.
Go on.
Marty McFly number 2. The dad, Marty McFly. Can't play guitar. Why can't he play guitar?
Because of the accident he got involved in back in the past. The car crash.
Even though the timelines have changed and changed and changed, Marty goes back and he's still in that same position.
Right. But don't forget, we're talking about from 1985 back. Because a new Marty who played guitar, because Marty B may not have even thought about playing guitar. Yeah? Because he would probably have other interests.
Well, if he was rich, he might have played the cello.
Or the violin, yeah. Can you imagine playing Johnny B. Good on...
Flipping it.
Right.
Okay.
So all the interests, all the things that he liked would have been completely changed. Because don't forget, when Marty had the accident, that was more in the future again with Marty A. Because Marty B has already been eliminated.
But his taste in women is the same because he goes back and it's the same young lady.
Different actress.
I hate you sometimes, man.
So, this is a fun thing.
But that's not because of that. That's because they changed the actress.
Is it?
Yeah.
Or is it different
Same
timeline?
with George.
Yeah, George McFly was changed. It wasn't. What's his name? In the first one, it was a different actor in the second one. Could it be that there's a alternative timeline?
No, he was.
You know, Eric Stoltz was meant to be Marty McFly originally.
Yeah.
Right. Now there's a multiverse I would love to see.
I've actually seen. I'm sure I've seen clips of
clips, yeah, and it just didn't sit right with the directors, so they filmed the whole thing, the whole movie,
and they just filmed the whole movie.
I think they filmed the whole movie, and they just said, "You know what? Scrap it. We're doing it again."
And Michael later,
right? And Michael J. Fox, he didn't sleep. He was traveling because he was doing Family Ties at the same time as Back to the Future, and he was traveling from set to set. He was getting like 1 or 2 hours sleep a night.
Wow. Getting a lot of money as well, so what the hell, I'd sacrifice it too.
Yeah, but he was driving for like 4 or 5 hours to get to the things. So going back to that, Marty B had to die. Right?
Apparently, according to Pete, the Earth moves 1.5 centimeters away from the sun every year.
Right, there you go.
Thanks, Doc.
See? So trying to pinpoint the exact moments of the DeLorean, wherever it disappeared into the past, it would always arrive in the past at the same time.
You know, I'm going to just move this a little bit. Sorry, guys. But this is... There you go.
So...
I really don't like wearing glasses, man. Anyway, yes.
So Doc couldn't have sent Marty B back to 1955.
The new Marty.
The new Marty
created. Okay.
Right. There's no way he could send him back to 1955.
Yeah, because he wouldn't know nothing about anything.
And there was no reason for his family to change because he's already been brought up in this rich, wealthy, socially influenced environment. So why would he need to go back and change something? And he wouldn't even know what to do because he probably wouldn't even know who Doc is. Maybe Doc went up to him and said, "Look, I have a time machine. You can go back and literally talk to him about the almanac, convince him to get in the DeLorean, tap in the wrong digits, probably send him back to the prehistoric ages. Who knows? I don't know. Or send him out into space." But there's no way Marty B on this new timeline could have gone back to 1955 because you're just literally resetting a loop where something else could potentially go wrong. So when you see Doc getting shot and the DeLorean driving off, that's probably Marty B going to seal his fate somewhere in the beyond. Right? Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Are you ready for this? You look like...
Yeah, of course I'm ready.
Because Doc, there was no way Doc would have an emotional attachment to Marty B.
No, because you said their path possibly may never have
crossed, or would not have the same.
Or Doc might have gone out looking for Marty and made it happen,
right,
in a different way.
In a different way. So, because of the past experiences and because of how the timeline has changed, Doc would not have had the same relationships, right? So now Doc has a new problem. Doc has a new problem now. That problem is Marty A is now in a new timeline who has no idea what the hell is going on. Right? So when Marty goes back home, he goes back home, he sees the parents, sees Biff waxing the car, right? Saying, don't cheat on me, Biff. I want 2 layers of wax. He goes, no, I wouldn't do that. New timeline. He's thinking, what the hell is going on? And he's going out, he sees Jennifer, and he's going, what the hell? Right? Now, can you imagine if he stayed there longer, he could potentially have a breakdown where thinking he would probably think he's going nuts. He wouldn't be able to handle what the hell is going on.
The original Marty.
The original Marty A.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's going to be a whole sense of identity crisis here. Yeah? Because remember, Marty B has created his own relationships, created his own ideas, his own thoughts, his own personality. Now,
everything could have changed. Music, taste, dress code.
The whole lot, right? So Marty A is now going back, and what's he going to do when he feels, how is he going to live knowing that he's living somebody else's life now that's meant to be his, but it's not his? Relationships, thoughts, experiences, life experiences. Right, you're holding your head. So can you imagine Marty having to live through that? He's probably going to have a nervous breakdown.
So what's the solution? Killing off Marty A?
No. He probably did. I'm guessing he did have a nervous breakdown. And Marty and Doc again thought, dang it, I need to fix this. Right? So what he does is, if you notice, all of a sudden, the moment he goes into the house, meets his parents, goes out, sees the car in the back, he's thinking, what the hell is going on? He's starting to panic. If you notice, he starts to panic a bit. He's thinking, what the hell's going on? Sees Jennifer, and he's still questioning. Then all of a sudden, bam, Doc pops up. Quick, we gotta go.
It's your kids.
Huh? It's your kids, Marty, it's your kids. Right? Now, all of a sudden, you've taken his mind off what was going on in his past. He had to remove him from the situation. Now, you're telling me that your kid getting arrested
in the future
warrants that kind of urgency. But at first, there was sort of like a secrecy behind it. All of a sudden, it's like, we gotta go, Marty, we gotta go. Your kids, blah, right? And what does he say? I think I wrote it down. He said something like,
oh my God, man, you, oh my Lord.
Right. I actually put it down. I've got to find it.
Because you've got a point. Because what is the urgency to get to the future? Because it's in the future. If you're going half an hour, it don't make a flipping difference. But he's trying to get Marty out of there before he loses the plot.
Before he loses the plot, because he was starting to go a bit crazy. He was wondering what the hell's going on. And then now this guy has to live this other Marty's life and try and work out his experiences. Tries to work out.
Yeah, but he's already a bit messed up because he's kissed his mum and everything.
Yeah.
And that was well before the internet days, man.
Yeah.
That's a bit gross if you think about it. But his mum was hot when she was younger.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, Leah Thompson was it.
Anyway, yeah, what was your point? Let's go back to it.
Yeah. Leah Thompson, yeah. So
yeah, man.
I mean, does anyone remember what he said? He said something.
At which point?
There's like a certain urgency when he comes back and he catches Marty. All of a sudden, he knocks and there's like this urgency, this sort of like, we need to go right now. Yeah, I think he's trying to avoid the paradoxes here. He's trying to avoid Marty all of a sudden questioning his self, right? And he says something like, I'm just trying to think. Does anyone remember? What's this? Doc is probably I'm going to have to rewatch tomorrow. It's my bedtime and my brain isn't working.
What's happening, Jamie? Welcome to the live stream, my friend. I'm going to have to rewatch tomorrow. It's my bedtime and my brain isn't working. Fair enough, mate.
Confused.
Yeah. Watch the live stream tomorrow or watch Back to the Future, whichever. I'm not going to be offended.
But he jumps. Yeah, so he's really vague about what's going on. And he says, something wrong, Marty. Your kids, right? And now all of a sudden, Marty's like, well, what's wrong with my kids? What's happening? So he's literally snapped him out of this confused state that he's in.
Why is my dad talking to Biff like that?
Yeah.
Why is... Yeah, okay.
So he could probably, at that point, he's realizing that he's changed the past, which is great. What Doc is probably trying to do is trying to avoid him now questioning his own self, his self-identity, you know? And he's trying to avoid him getting to that point where he has to question his own self-identity and saying, well, nothing's real anymore. All my life experiences are different. All my memories of my brother are no more. I remember my brother being this loser. I remember my sister just sitting there eating her cereal or whatever. His whole life memories and experiences have now changed. Because when he goes back into this new timeline, the brother's wearing a suit, sister's looking sharp in her clothes, whatever she's doing. And so literally, can you imagine your whole memories of your mum and dad, your whole family has now never ever existed, and you're now having to live somebody else's life?
Because technically, from the first movie, from when he goes back in time in a DeLorean, to the end of number 3, he hasn't actually moved that far.
No.
In the timeline.
No. He hasn't.
Apart from when he goes on that race, well, which he doesn't race in the end. But, so he hasn't had time to question it, really.
No. He hasn't had a moment to himself, because the moment he went to the future and then back into the past, he then had to go straight away to find Doc in 1885. He's never had a moment to sit there and think about it. And by which point he's now probably never crossed his mind when he's gone back into 1985 in number 3. And Doc gives him that quote. I'll write it down because it's one of my favorites. He says, your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one. So letting him know that this is your time now. Subconsciously telling him that the old Marty is gone and you're going to have to take his place. So now it's your future. You need to make it a good one. So imagine that you're having to now look at your parents, but you don't know anything about them. You've literally, everyone you've known has been wiped.
They're a different person.
They're a completely different person. All your life experiences, all your memories, all the fun games you've had with your brother, all those trips that you may have had, all the conversations, those life-changing moments, those eureka moments where you thought, you know what, those moments where your dad's putting you to bed, all that is gone. All that is gone. And that was probably too much for Marty to handle. So Doc jumped back in and then took him to the future in order to stop him from spiraling down that mental path, that paradox.
But what's stopping that from happening after Doc's left in his choo-choo train?
Probably his words. Probably his words. This is your future now. Make it a good one.
But not knowing his past doesn't help.
Quite possibly. Maybe might be a fourth, even though we know there's not a fourth.
I've seen so many trailers. I got so excited when I saw it.
Yeah, so many fan. So, I mean, Doc was trying to avoid that paradox. So Marty living this new timeline of 1985, which can be very confusing. So Doc had to fix it. at the very end of Back to the Future 1, Doc is vague when he picks Marty up, and he just literally rushes in and says, "You know what? You need to come with me right now and bring Jennifer as well, just to."
Because she was there.
She was there. Maybe he brought Jennifer, now thinking about it, to solidify their relationship even further, to build new memories with her.
Okay. Even though she's knocked out for most of it.
But it makes Marty think that that's his Jennifer.
Again, makes sense. Flipping Nora.
There you go. That's my theory. I mean,
what are you guys thinking about these theories so far, man?
Well, someone says, yeah, Doc is probably his dad.
Interesting.
Quite possibly, yeah. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
The advert. The advert.
I keep forgetting.
Do I keep kicking the? I feel like the camera keeps moving. I don't know, man. I'm losing it. My brain is working overtime right now. I can't handle this. What is going on? Okay. Are you suggesting then that Doc is a murderer?
Oh.
And do you think he likes it, which is why he keeps doing it?
What, murdering?
Yeah. Well, he's always killing off the extra Marty in every timeline.
Quite possibly. There's only one timeline, though, isn't there? That new one timeline.
No, because there's the original timeline.
But he hasn't killed that one off.
What, the original timeline?
Yeah, he hasn't killed that Marty. That's the Marty he wants to keep.
But he's killing all the other spin-offs.
Yeah, pretty much. But I suppose you could turn around and say that they never had really existed if the past. So what difference does it make? Because they never really
so
existed.
It's okay to kill. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Good.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying maybe that's what he's thinking, because they never really existed in the first place, and he had no emotion. Well, I don't know about the emotion, because you can't. But what I'm saying is that maybe he just had to get rid of them in order to save.
It can't be just the Martys that he killed, though. If that's what he's done, he's had to kill himself. Because he's come and gone a few times.
Yeah.
I've got him.
Yeah, potentially. But having said that, he is a lone wolf. He's a standalone character. He lives between time. So whether he has one Doc on this timeline makes no difference, because he himself isn't living in any given time.
You're just saying that to mess in my head, man.
Doesn't he? At the end of number 3, he's just living his life between timelines, or between times, with Clara and Jules and Vern. So the original Doc can do whatever he wants, because remember, he went back in time to 1885. So his current Doc timeline ceased to exist. He's ceased to exist. So he went back into 1885. And because of that, he then travels between times, not timelines, but between times. So he has no set place, if you know what I mean.
But if he's gone from 1985 back to 1885,
and
he's there for 25 years,
that's
an example. And he comes back to 1985. He can't pretend to be the same person because he's aged 20 years.
But he doesn't. He doesn't come back to. He comes back to 1985 briefly, but he doesn't live in 1985.
So he just disappears off the face of the earth. From the 85.
The train just kind of gets up, turns around, flies towards the screen, and then that's it. So he says we can go wherever we want. He says that to Marty. What are you going to do? And he says, well, whatever we want. We can go anywhere we want, anytime, pretty much. And he just lives between times.
As does his wife and his kids.
Right. Therefore, maybe potentially changing potential futures or pasts. Who knows? So going back to the original question, actually, thinking about it now, is Doc a hypocrite? Because originally he says, don't mess with the timeline, don't go back. It must be destroyed. Destroy the
time machine.
And then he
makes a new one and keeps it.
Why doesn't he live in 1885 with Clara and his 2 kids and just live off the rest of his days there? He doesn't.
Yeah, but if you could time travel, you would as well.
Yeah, of course I would. Of course I would. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting, man. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts.
Yeah. But you see what I mean about this new Marty A and Marty B?
Yeah, no, I totally get it, because the new Marty would have grown up differently to the old Marty.
Right.
But it doesn't show us what happens to Marty after, because just because Doc said those nice words, don't mean he never lost the plot and ended up in the Priory.
Yeah, well, then we need to speak to somebody to do a 4th one, I suppose. My theory, my brain doesn't go that far. I like I said,
it's got to stop at that.
It's got to stop at some point. So I'm assuming what he says, make it a good one, means that just don't think about it. You just live your life as it is.
I don't think I ever thought about it that deeply, ever.
And do you know what the funny thing is? One of my biggest fears will come out is people saying, you got too much time on your hands.
You have got too much time on your hands, but that ain't a bad thing. That ain't a bad thing.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm not.
It's a miracle what you can think of when you're on the toilet.
It's true, man. Listen, I'm not a massive believer in major conspiracies and but then certain things happen, whether you're out and about or you're watching the news or you've just got time to think about stuff. You're like, maybe.
Right. Who
maybe
knows? It's like I said, once again, I can't stress this enough. This is just some ideas. There's no truth behind it.
It's just a movie at the end of the day. It's a movie. It's not like we're talking about Trump's assassination attempts and that. It's a movie. It's fiction. But for you to be thinking about these things, maybe they've been planted in the film to make you think like that.
Yeah.
Now, when I was a drama student many moons ago, when I was when I was at Brunel, I remember there was a massive debate in one of our lectures, and I was completely on my own against everyone, because I can't remember the full thing, but it was about, oh my God, art. Do you believe in art for art's sake?
Okay.
And of all the people there, and there was a hell of a lot of us, I was the only one that said, yeah, that's how I am when I go to the movies or to the theatre. And when I say art for art's sake, it could mean about a picture, a painting. I could look at that painting up there and say, you know what, that's actually really nice. They've done a good job with that. And I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But you will look at it and think, oh, he's done the brush strokes like this because blah, blah, blah. There was the other debates about theatre productions after a certain time and pre this and that. And they were like, how did the Second World War affect this musical? And I was sitting there thinking, what are you talking about? Annie was a brilliant musical. You know, little girl, she's an orphan, rich guy saves her. Happy Days. It was a nice film. I enjoyed it. I'll sing the song. But others will say, but this was affected because of this, the influence on the...
So it's all the behind the scenes, kind of underline, read between the line kind of things.
But then you think about it, there is... I don't know why I picked Annie randomly out of the blue, but even with that, there's Daddy Warbucks.
Yeah.
Where did he get his money from?
Right.
If you think about it, I watched the film. The film was good. I'm going to watch it with my kids. My kids are either going to love it or they're not going to like it.
Yeah.
He doesn't care how this thing in the past has affected how we think about.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm art for art's sake most of the time. I want to watch a film and I want to enjoy it.
And just watch it for what it is.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do get deep into things like
I mean, it's
like
just
that.
one of those.
There's nothing
things.
wrong with it. I don't think there's a right or a wrong because
it,
I want to watch that and enjoy it and go home. You want to watch it and you want to analyze it, like The Godfather. Every time there's an orange or something the color orange, someone's gonna die. Yeah. I never noticed that. The films are brilliant, man.
You know what? I didn't know that.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
Guys, seriously, Mr. Conspiracy, what?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's something to do with the color orange because we studied that around that time of doing the sort of art second. We had to watch it and it will show. Like, she goes to the store to buy oranges.
Yeah.
And then the car blows up with the family in it. And then another time, look into it. Look into it when you got time. The Godfather. Yes.
Okay, I'll have a little look.
Has anyone else heard this theory? Let me know.
That's a new one. You're going to be teaching me now.
I ain't going to teach you nothing, man. It's like watching movies. If
Yeah,
they're good, they're good. If
I love
crap,
watching
they're crap.
movies.
It's as simple as that.
I just love watching movies. I absolutely love watching movies. It's one of my favorite things. And yeah, sometimes I just think about it and I just think, what if? Yeah. And it's actually the comics, the Marvel comics, that got me thinking about certain things in a different way. Because there was a comic series, and now they made it, put it on Disney Plus, the What If series.
I never got into that. I watched the first couple.
Yeah.
I like the Captain. No, not Captain America. Well, Captain.
The female one.
Yeah. Oh my God! Why have I forgotten her name?
Carter.
Captain Carter. I watched that one.
Peggy Carter, isn't it?
And it was all right. I watched the one where Black Panther gets taken instead of Star-Lord.
Star-Lord, yeah.
But it didn't really grab me enough to want to carry it because it was at the time when it came out and everyone, all my other mates on YouTube, they were all watching it. Everyone was loving it. I didn't get into it, man. But then that's the same with WandaVision. I watched a handful of episodes.
I loved WandaVision.
I just couldn't get into it. It wasn't for me.
You needed a
Loki again. Loki, didn't like it.
Really?
No, I didn't. I didn't get into it. I didn't get into it. No, but the thing is, for me, if I'm going to start watching something, and I've said this on my channel a few times, I watched The Mandalorian when it came out, and I was in two minds about it. So I waited until I watched it around the time when the second series was about to start, because I don't like watching an episode and then waiting a week.
Yeah.
I remember that night. Everyone went to bed. I sat down, put the telly on. Maybe it was 11, half 11.
Okay.
Started watching The Mandalorian, and the credits came up at the end, and I thought to myself, "Shit, I ain't gonna sleep tonight. I'm screwed tomorrow."
Marathon.
And you know what? I must have watched about 5-6 episodes, and in the end, I was like, "I have to go to bed." Either I thought that, or I fell asleep on the sofa. It got me straight away. There was no turning back. There was no, I'll wait till wait till tomorrow, wait till next week.
Straight away. Movie marathon.
I had the same with Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Bang! I was like, it got me.
Got you.
The only one that I watched and enjoyed, but it didn't get me straight away, was Andor. I'm very sure it was Andor. It took me a while, but I was like, I know something's coming. I'm feeling something's coming. It hasn't got me yet. And that's what I'm like with movies as well. Even though if I start watching it, I'm going to watch the whole movie. A movie really has to get me. I remember one time we went to the cinema. This must be right at the end of the 90s. There was a film called The House of Flying Daggers.
Oh, yes. I
fell asleep in there.
Really?
No word of a lie. After maybe 15-20 minutes. It was subtitled, which didn't bother me because there was the previous film, which was Flying Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Crouching Tiger, that's the one. I watched it. I thought it was brilliant. The House of Flying Daggers, same thing, subtitles, but
nothing.
it didn't get. I fell asleep, man. I fell asleep in the cinema. All my mates are like, "Are you serious?" They even ate all my popcorn. But you know what? It doesn't matter.
That was me with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I know, controversial. Game of Thrones.
I never watched it. I haven't watched an episode of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But I watched the first 3 episodes and I'm thinking, what on earth is this? This is just, no, I can't be doing. 4th episode came up. No, do you know what? Stop this. I'm turning it off. It only took me a year later. I decided, you know what? I'm going to give this another shot. I'm hearing so much about it, and everyone's saying how great it is. All right, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to like persevere. And I was hooked.
Right, you know. Well, David is saying, you know, the sports almanac scene where Biff turns on the radio to listen to the UCLA baseball game. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that scene.
Great scene, we all know that scene. That was a brilliant scene because the young Biff doesn't believe him. Listen, and he's like
knocking his head.
Yeah, that was a brilliant scene because he had to convince him that this book was
legit.
Yeah,
basically, it was legit, and it didn't even. He still didn't even believe him. Anyway, he's saying 19-16.
Well, the winning score is 19-16.
Was it? Good fact to have, I suppose.
What does that mean to you? Does it mean anything?
19-16.
Yeah,
maybe.
Oh, David's right in saying I'm very, very
I'm intrigued
curious and excited. That's it. This is what these debates are about. Not debates, but conversations, because it's about getting everyone involved. It's not just about what you think or what I think.
Yeah, it's exactly. So, well, in 2016 was the election year. Okay. Or is this going to be one of them Simpson theories, you know, where Simpson predicts the future kind of thing? That's mental, though. The Simpsons. That.
It's scary.
It is scary. And I'm just wondering, is it chance or is it now it's a bit too much for a coincidence? I don't know. But yeah, going back to Game of Thrones until David carries on writing.
Yeah.
The Game of Thrones, that for me, and then I watched it and I just absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved Game of Thrones.
Nothing made me really want to watch it. There was a stage where I even started finding Funko Pops of Game of Thrones, and I bought quite a few because I was getting them at good prices, but I didn't know who the characters were, and then I just sold them to someone. Really? Nothing. I didn't care about making profit. I just haven't watched an episode. No, I know it's supposed to be amazing because it can't be that big and not really good.
Yeah. I've said too much.
I've said too much.
He's leaving it on a cliffhanger. I've said too much.
Flipping Nora.
Oh my goodness, I've said too much. Listen, I hope, David, for your sake you're safe out there, yeah? You're not going to disappear tomorrow.
No. David, let us know.
Let us know you're safe.
Stay in touch.
I've said
too much, man.
Yeah, I've said too much. Yeah. Let Random here. Let him know that you're safe tomorrow. Wow. You're gonna have people knocking on the door in some sort of suits, I suppose. I'm not saying too much because I have 2 kids. I want to live to watch them grow old. Yeah, so I'm not saying that. People in suits walk around and
yeah.
They're
waiting for us outside
already.
Well, Back to the Future conspiracies could have rattled the world, really.
Could have been.
I say like I said at the beginning, the thoughts shared by the guest are not the thoughts of the channel.
Yeah, Random saving his own skin here. You're on your own,
Every man for himself. You get yourself a time machine and come and save us, wherever.
Yeah, you're on your own. These are just my theories, It's just made up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're not even that far-fetched, and if you think about it, it could be.
Yeah, potentially.
And there's no reason why that can't be the reason.
Yeah. So he's saying, well, the former President Trump is now Back to the Future President Trump. Oh, now that's deep.
I don't overly want to
That's
mention his name, not because I don't like him. I don't want to upset him because too many people upset him, and now he's back in power, man.
Yeah, we got
to. He don't forget. He doesn't forget.
Like an elephant.
Well, it's like what they said
forget.
about him, our government, what they said about him, and now it's like, oh, congratulations, Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, he remembers what you said.
He remembers a lot.
He remembers.
Yeah. On that note, we'll switch
back to the future.
Yeah, back to the future. So yeah, there's those other theories. Now there's loads of other little things. I mean, like, you know, the whole Mandela effect. You've heard of that one, right? The whole.
That's where you know something, but you can't prove it. Is that? You can't prove that it happened?
Yeah, sort of. It's the Mandela effect is when you think you know something happened in a certain way, but it didn't.
Yeah. But it definitely didn't.
But it definitely didn't. Like, for example, everyone believes, you know, in the scene E.T. There he is, there. E.T. Elliot. What does he say? What does everyone believe that he says?
Oh, when he's E.T. phone home.
Right, yeah. That's not what he says. I know, right?
E.T. phone home.
No. He says E.T. home phone.
Because he was foreign.
Yeah. But everyone thinks he said E.T. phone home.
E.T. home phone.
Yeah, he actually says E.T. home phone. But everybody believes that he said E.T. phone home. Mad, isn't it? Or like the other one, speaking of baseball, was it Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner?
Yeah, wow. That's old.
That's old. Everyone believes it is build it.
These other movies we're talking about ain't old.
Yeah, well, build it and they will come, right?
Yeah.
No. That's not what he says. He turns around and says,
come and they will build it.
No. Build it and he will come. Talking about his dad. But we all seem to believe it's build it and they will come. But it's not. Build it and he will come.
I need to write these down. I'm going to look these up later, man.
Yeah. Build it and he will come. And then, what was it? Jaws. Another favourite of mine.
Because I remember when he said...
Yeah. But when they find out that Jaws is about, right? And what was his name? I can't remember the guy's name. He turns around and says, we're going to need a bigger boat.
He didn't say...
He didn't say we're going to need a bigger boat. He turned around and said, you're going to need a bigger boat. He made it the other guy's problem. In the original one, in the film, he says, you're going to need a bigger boat. He literally eliminated himself from that situation. He made it the captain's problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. There's always things that we're going to remember differently. If we watched a movie back in 1985,
all right,
and you are adamant this is what they said.
Right. Okay. Here's a great one. I don't know if you can hear this on. Hopefully you can hear this. Now you can search up yourself. We Are the Champions by Queen.
Queen.
Right. At the end of the song, what happens? What does he say right at the very end? Because we are the champions.
We are the champions. No time for losers, because we are the champions of the world. He doesn't say that, does he? Shut up, man.
Right. We got adverts, so I'll turn that down for a sec.
But bear in mind, we'll get hit with copyright. So
no, I'm gonna fast forward right to the very end. Right. So don't worry, I'm not gonna play.
Yeah, YouTube love finding copyright strikes, man. Jesus.
Are we allowed to play like the last 3 seconds?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So. Right. There it is. Look.
He doesn't say nothing.
No.
Can I say something? That's really weird. You see the picture that he just showed?
And that was in that was the album Stewie.
News of the world.
News of the world. And Stu was afraid of that robot in Family Guy.
Really?
Yeah. He was freaked out by that robot.
The champions of the world. Oh, did we
Right.
make that up?
And-
Or is it during the song then?
No, we all believe that right at the very end, they sing out of the world, that bit at the end. But on the album,
Wow.
Mandela effect.
But what's Nelson Mandela got to do with anything?
Because everyone believed
I'm
he
kidding.
died
Yeah, I know.
in
I know
prison.
the story.
Right, that's why they call it the Mandela effect.
Okay.
But did it actually happen, or is it something that we perceived that happened and believe that it happened?
It's probably because we've heard it in karaoke so many times.
Yeah, quite possibly. But we believe something has happened, but it never actually did. My favorite one, and this has actually baffled me because I remember seeing this. Do you remember, due to copyrights, I will say...
No, you can say it. Say it.
Disney?
It's fine.
Disney?
Yeah, you can say, yeah, man.
Yeah,
They're going to
okay.
shut us down for that, man.
Disney.
Yeah, Disney. Walt Disney.
Right, back in the 90s, I think it was, or when we were younger, I remember
80s.
Specifically seeing this blue background with the white castle and
Yeah, the logo.
The logo.
Yeah.
The introduction to the Disney films and Tinkerbell flying around, right? And then dotting the I.
Yeah.
And one of them, I specifically remember she would get frustrated and rattle the...
Because she does it, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Apparently that never happened.
But of course it did, because we've seen it.
Right. Apparently never happened. You can't find it anywhere. And Disney have said it's never happened.
Now, how can we all know something to have happened and they say it didn't? That's... No.
It's just weird. You try and find it. There's one I've looked up and I've seen it, and it had sort of like a 3D version of it, of what we all believed it was supposed to look like. But that's not the original one from like the DVDs and stuff. But that intro apparently never happened.
If anybody can find this footage,
please. Yeah. I haven't found it. And
message me, let me know, send me a link or whatever, and I will show you. This has happened, man.
Yeah, I was convinced this was happened.
Oh, so you're convinced it is?
I'm convinced it happened, but I can't remember.
But you're not convinced that we are the champions of the world?
Yeah, that could be. Who knows? Maybe it could have been on another track, on another version, or a live version, and then we just kind of heard it and ran with it. So that's a potential. The other one was a Monopoly Man. That's a funny one.
The fat dude in with
the Monopoly, the Monopoly, Mr.
Monopoly,
yeah, with a monocle. Yeah. No monocle. Never had the monocle. Yep. Never had a monocle.
So yeah, the fact like with the monocle,
yeah,
he didn't have a monocle.
No, he just had the top hat.
The Pringles guy did though.
The Pringles guy did. Mr. Peanut did.
It's his cousin.
Quite positive. Yeah. Related. But the Monopoly
guy didn't have a monocle.
No. You're going to Google it, aren't you? Do you want to Google it? Shall I pull it up on my phone just to have a look?
No, because it knows all your cookies. You've probably Googled it before.
Yeah, the Monopoly guy never. Mandela effect. We all believed something was happening and it never did. And we have some sort of memory that this thing happened, but
I get that a lot at home because every now and then my wife brings something up, right? She goes, "We talked about it the other night."
No, we did. Mandela effect.
Did I look like I was sleeping? Was you talking to me while I was in and out of consciousness? Because that doesn't count as we talked about it.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
I told you to get the washing out and put it on the line to dry. No, not when. No.
When did that conversation happen? Yeah, yeah, I know. I've got to say, it's a common factor amongst men, the Mandela effect, especially amongst married men. Do you know 9 out of 10 men, married men, experience Mandela effects when talking to their wives? It's common, especially it's common for men over at the age of 40.
You know, she's probably watching this right now. We're both in so much trouble.
I was saying it's common for men over 40. It affects 9 and 10 men.
Have you got at home?
Yeah, go on.
This is actually a secret. I don't know if a lot of people know about this. Have you got a magic basket?
I do.
You've got one as well.
Yeah.
No, you're being serious. You know about the magic basket.
Yeah, where you put your clothes in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
the next day they're
washed, ironed,
folded.
And all I have to do is just put it in the wardrobe.
Yeah. My wife don't believe me. I've told her about this. And she just gives me this look like.
Yeah, I know. And I'm too scared to say it to anybody because they're going to think I'm mad.
But what I've realised, and I never thought about this before, our kitchen sink is magic too.
Is it?
Dude, I finish eating, I put the plates, I put the cutlery, the glass I was drinking out of, I put it in there.
Yeah.
By the time I come down in the morning, they're gone.
But do you know what else? Yeah. Well, there's another thing. I swear I put my keys somewhere. I swear blind I put my keys on a table or somewhere. I go down the next day and I don't find them. I ask my wife, where is it? She says, I don't know. If you put things where they're supposed to be, then you wouldn't lose them.
If you put things where they're supposed to be.
Right.
What does that mean?
But they don't know where my keys are. And somehow they're not where I put it. That to me is a mystery. And then I have to go searching for an hour to try and find my keys.
She moved it.
Do you think so? I don't want to make that accusation. Too scared.
I know what you did.
I know. Well, does that happen to you where you put something down and it disappears and then you ask a week later, where is it? I swear it was here and it's gone.
It happens all the time.
I'm saying there's fairies or elves or magic or I don't know what the hell's going on there. But
I don't know if you're allowed to say fairies these days.
Well, yeah, the magical like Tinkerbell.
Oh, sorry, ignore me.
You know, from the forest, those little fairy pixie things.
Pixies.
If you say that, I don't believe in, and I don't want to say it.
No, I've watched Hook.
Yeah, so we don't say things like that.
That was a brilliant film.
Oh, I loved Hook. Robbie Williams, bless his heart, he was one of my favorites.
I absolutely loved him, man.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved him from when I was a kid. Even Hook.
Yeah, just that everything.
Because that came out around 1990.
Yeah.
And I remember my little sister's quite a lot younger than me. That Christmas, my mum bought us that on video.
Oh, wow.
That and Home Alone. And my sister watched them over and I'm talking not over and over weeks and months. Every day she would watch Hook and Home Alone. Hook, Home Alone.
She burnt into your retinas.
She at 2 years old or younger, she knew the script, like the whole film, and it was. But we used to love watching it. It didn't matter how many times we watched Hook. It was.
I would sit there and watch it now. I absolutely love Hook. I love every Robbie Williams films.
Smee, don't try to stop me this time, Smee.
Don't try to stop me,
Smee. Dare try to stop me this time, Smee.
Stop me, Smee. Stop me,
Smee. Get over here and stop me, Smee. Oh my God.
Yeah. Listen, that guy was just a phenomenal actor. He was just so. Do you know he was quite random in terms of the genie? You know, in the genie, there was pretty much he went off script so many times with that character.
But he done that in most of his movies because I've seen outtakes from so many things.
Yeah. But they actually had to
witty. It's knowing witty. The right thing to say, or just trying things out and not caring.
He just went and did it. But they actually drew.
Funny.
Yeah, I believe they drew the genie after he did the voiceover because he was just so unscripted.
They couldn't do it the other way.
They couldn't do it the other way around.
It's
He was such a
shame.
genius.
And it goes to show that no matter how someone looks or comes across day to day, you've got no idea what they're carrying on their shoulders, man.
For someone who can make so many people happy, wasn't able to make himself happy.
Yeah.
Or help himself.
And that's what's sad, because
so much
when it comes to comedy, because I've done so much acting over the years as well, theatres, TV.
Really?
Well, I've got a past, my friend.
Dark horse.
He was one of the people that I used to love watching when it comes to comedy.
Yeah,
because he was hilarious, man. I'm as a kid, I used to watch Mork and Mindy. That geezer was mad, but he was the perfect person to play Mork.
But wasn't correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but wasn't that Mork and Mindy was actually a spin-off to Happy Days?
It can't have been.
Yeah.
How?
It was a spin-off to Happy Days because Mork was in a dream episode. And they loved the character so much. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I think
Mork was in someone's dream from Happy Days.
Yes.
That's flipping random.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We're gonna have to look into this.
Look into it. Because I'm sure it actually was a spin-off to Happy Days.
Maybe it was.
Here's another conspiracy theory.
Go on.
Grease. What's
John Travolta, Grease.
John Travolta, Grease.
Yeah.
And
Olivia Newton-John.
Olivia Newton-John, Sandy. She actually died. That's a theory again. She actually died from literally the first scenes.
How?
He came splashing around. She almost died. She nearly drowned.
Yeah.
She actually did drown. And the whole movie apparently is her dream. And then at the end, when they're all waving goodbye, saying goodbye to her, that's why all of a sudden it's gone from this High School Music to a flying car going up into the clouds. How did that ending come about, in all honesty? You got this whole movie, this whole musical movie, everything's normal, everything's as it should be on Earth. And then right at the very end, when they're about to drive off with what's his name? With John Travolta, Danny Zuko.
Danny Zuko.
There he is here. Right? They're about to drive off, and then all of a sudden the car's kind of flying up into the clouds, going into the heavens. Apparently that's meant to be her dying at the end and her last moments with her friend saying goodbye to her. Apparently. Yeah.
He's a bloody killjoy, isn't he? Don't watch a movie with this one. Flipping it. But I'll tell you something I never saw coming.
Go on.
Have you seen the film Titanic?
No, I haven't actually.
Never saw that ending.
Don't spoil it for me.
Never saw that coming.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
They bring a tear to your eye. Poor Jack, right? That's why. Is his name Jack? Yeah.
Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow. Do you know why he walks around like that? And he's all over the place.
Because he's pissed.
No. No.
Is that how a sparrow walks? And
no.
That's what they call it?
Because he's on the boat most of his life, most of the time of the year, and it's wavy, and he can't. When he's walking, he has to walk sideways to try and keep his balance. He's so used to walking that way that when he goes back on land,
he still walks.
Walks that way because that's what he's used to.
Really?
Yeah. Not because
is that something that he told after making the movie, or is that just an assumption? Okay.
Because I'm assuming I've been on boats when they've been like that, and it's really hard to walk in a straight line, and you're walking like you're pissed to try and keep your balance. Sometimes you're like at a 40-degree angle at some points. Yeah, I've been on boats like that.
Wow.
It is a bit scary.
So I should pay the extra and go on proper cruise ships.
None of these knockoff ones, right?
My friend, I do you good price.
Good price, good price. Come. It's okay. I like you. You're my friend. Come. Yeah.
Not sure why that specific accent, but hey, it is what it is.
I don't know. It's just come. But yeah, they say it's because on a ship, and I've been on ships like that, where you're kind of walking at a 45-degree angle, and it's rocking back and forth. So you're 1 minute you're that way, next minute you're walking that way, and then you're just like this. So when he comes back on land, he doesn't know how to walk in any other way.
Wow. Okay.
Another little conspiracy thing. It's full of
That's not a conspiracy. That's just
potential facts.
Yeah.
Here's one. Did you like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. When I was younger, yeah.
Yeah. I've actually read the latest ones. The Ronin series.
Okay.
Oh, that was brilliant.
I've not touched on that, but we did go to the cinema and watch was it something Mayhem?
Yeah, TMNT Mayhem. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That was it a year or two ago now. Wow. Time flies. Maybe
if I were you, I bought the comic and I absolutely loved it. There's a little bit for the grown, not one for the kids. It's a little bit bloody, but I suppose if you've got a teenager, they can read it. It's fine. Anyone above the age of 13, 14, it's a little bit gory, but
so Ronin is about.
It's about all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were killed apart from one.
Oh.
We don't know who it is. I know who it is because I found out because I've read the comic. But
so the comic tells you.
It will tell you who it is.
So skip to the last page, guys. If you
no, somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. But throughout the whole book, it's that one turtle seeking revenge for the death of his brothers, and he uses their weapons to honor them when he seeks that revenge.
Oh, so he has all the weapons, the nunchucks, the staff.
Yeah, and he's got the bandana, but the bandana is actually black. So,
okay,
it's a really, really good read. I'd recommend that. That's a. Really
I've definitely seen it because I'm picturing Ronin with the shadow of.
Yeah, the last Ronin.
I've obviously never. Yeah, I've never. Really.
They're actually bringing out a computer game about it on the PS5. I think it is. It's good.
Okay.
And I believe they're going to actually make a movie out of it, which would be fun. But the comic was good. But anyway, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Did you know there's a specific reason for Splinter handing out the weapons to each individual turtle? Do you?
No, go on.
Again, I wrote it down, and because it's something that I like.
What is it? Maybe something to do with what their personality was?
Yeah, personality. I mean, we had a brief chat, but then you stopped. You stopped me briefly.
I forgot that you mentioned about the turtles.
Yeah, because initially I thought it was just random, but it wasn't. Splinter had a specific reason for giving the Ninja Turtles those weapons.
Okay.
So.
All right, let's go through them one by one.
Leonardo
DiCaprio, yes.
Would you trust him with katanas? I've seen his a few action movies he's done, and I'll tell you what, not too bad. Not quite Keanu with the guns, but
it is what it is, man.
But
everyone to their strengths.
Yeah. Well, Leonardo, he was given the katanas, and the katanas were a powerful weapon, right? Has the ability to kill and defend. Requires focus, requires precision. It's a very balanced. It's the traditional weapon of leaders. So he decides to give it to Leonardo because the swords.
The actual proper swords.
Leonardo's swords.
All right.
Katana swords. So because he's a team leader, and the most disciplined one of all, he symbolizes calm, and he's a responsible figure. So he was given those katanas because they are representing a sword of leaders.
Okay.
Bringing balance, focus, and all of that. Now, Raphael had the sais. Yeah. The sais are a defensive weapon.
Okay.
They're a defensive weapon. Raphael, what's he known for?
Pizza.
That's Michelangelo, dude.
I know, but they all ate pizza.
They all ate
man.
pizza. But Raphael was known for his temper, for his fiery anger, his short temper.
Yeah.
So Splinter gave him the size to teach him to keep that rage calm, give him a defensive weapon rather than an attacking weapon.
Okay.
Yeah? You with me? Because his impulses, and for someone who has got such basic anger issues, those size will keep him in check because he can't really attack. They're more defensive. So he has to rein in his temper to be able to use those size. And Michelangelo, he was a bit of a wild one. He liked to party.
Yeah.
There was no structure to him. There was nothing methodical about him. He was just mental. He was just
don't beat around the bush. That's what you're thinking.
Well, he was literally, he was mental. I loved it, right? Partying, skateboarding, whatever. So what weapon did he Splinter give him? The nunchucks, which requires patience, control, and again focus, and a lot of practice and discipline. Because you can't just be using nunchucks willy-nilly.
Technique, man.
There's a lot of technique. So in order to calm Michelangelo down, he gave him those nunchucks.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, what time is it now? It's coming to 11 o'clock.
Wow. I've got no idea, man.
Jeez, we've been on it for 2 hours.
Well, we're actually almost at 2 hours. Hour and 56 minutes.
Yeah.
That's probably the wife saying, get home.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Grow up.
Yeah, grow up. Stop talking about you got too much time on your hands. But yeah, so those are my theories. I mean,
I've actually really enjoyed listening to them. I didn't know what to expect. I know I had a rough idea on a couple of things that you had mentioned, which is why we've done this episode. But it really messes with your brain trying to think about it.
Yeah.
Because the whole timeline shifts and this.
Yeah.
It messes with you.
It really does. It really does. And if you go into it, it literally drives you insane.
Wow. You know what? We need to think of the next topic because this isn't the one and only time you're coming.
The only one I'm trying to still figure out is that bloody Terminator one. Oh, geez, that's done my head in.
Terminator, he's not the same person as in number one, isn't he? The same robot as number one, isn't he?
It's not that.
Oh,
it's John Connor.
Yeah.
How on earth is John Connor conceived by someone from the future? If the future hadn't happened, for him to go back in time to be conceived, because John Connor was the leader of the rebellion, who was sent a Terminator back to kill his mum. So they send back Reese from the future back in time to save Sarah Connor, who then in turn impregnates Sarah Connor with John Connor.
It's getting late, man.
That's what I'm saying.
What the hell are you doing to me, man? I know it's
to me that I still can't work that bit out. I don't know how that paradox works. That's bad. So if anyone out there can figure that one out and tell us, I'll be really, really interested in that.
I still remember when Terminator 2 came out.
Well, that was the best one.
Mad, man. I was secondary school,
maybe
third year. No, second year. Can't even remember.
That was
it was beginning of the 90s.
Yeah. Best one, I think. Terminator 2 was the best one, I think. That was just amazing. I love that film. And hasta la vista, baby. Yeah, right. But yeah, that whole paradox situation. Reese Connor was born, created the rebellion. The Cybernet sends a Terminator back to kill his mum. So to save Sarah Connor, John Connor sends back Reese, who then falls in love with Sarah, impregnates her, becomes John's father. So in effect, John Connor sends his own dad back in time, maybe not to save Sarah, but to make sure he's
do my
born.
mum.
Yeah.
Go, but you are born because you're sending him back.
Right. But if he didn't go back in time, then John wouldn't have been born in the first place.
But John wouldn't have existed to send the geezer back.
Exactly that. That is what I still haven't figured that one out. So yeah,
it was a blockbuster anyway, so who cares?
Who cares? But that to me that's a paradox I still haven't figured out.
Wow.
Unless she did the dirty on him.
Do you reckon he's his own father? Happens in some cultures.
Here you go. Here's one twist of fate. Doc Brown.
Doc Brown.
We're back in time.
And
impregnated Sarah Connor.
Oh, Doc Brown done it. I thought you were talking about Lorraine.
No. Flip. Doc Brown went Sarah Connor. Maybe. No, there's a twist. Controversial.
No, I think George Jetson done it.
What George Jetson and the Flintstones living on the same timeline? Aha. Is that for another time?
We will save that one for another time.
No, just think about it.
The Jetsons and the Flintstones living on the same timeline.
Not timeline, sorry. Same era. Same era.
But same timeline as well.
No, timeline could be the timeline from 1885 or 1995. That's the timeline.
Okay.
The same era, the same year, the same kind of...
At the same time.
At the same time.
Living parallel.
Parallel next to each other. Jetsons and the Flintstones.
We are going to discuss that next time.
Yeah. I think that'll be a good one.
Jason, thank you so much for joining me. This has actually been wicked. I didn't know really what to expect. I knew there'd be a couple of crazy theories. I didn't think we'd be talking for over 2 blooming hours. Yeah, thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you for bringing me to your wonderful room. This is what I watched near enough every episode, pretty much every episode. And I didn't know what to expect when to come here into your studio and see this amazing setup you've got here.
Glad you like it, man.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it.
I want to thank all of you guys too for tuning in and watching tonight. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's watching this, not right now, but in the future, but watching the past, because the timeline is different, but the live video stays on. It's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah. Maybe we should create a Mandela effect right now. So we make them think that's something, and then when they rewatch it, it's something completely different.
But this video didn't even happen.
Never existed.
Oh.
And we need one of those Men in Black things.
Oh, hang on. This video... Oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks very much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button.
Definitely subscribe.
If you haven't already.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to have Jason back in the studio soon. We're going to be talking all sorts, movies, comics, anything fun and geeky. We'll be doing it.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Guys, peace.
Peace.
How'd you end this?